Hey everyone, and welcome to today's explainer. We are jumping straight into a huge milestone today. We're going to master one of the most notoriously confusing grammar topics for native English speakers who are learning Spanish. Yep, we're talking about object pronouns. Specifically, where to put them and the infamous mystery of the word se. If you've ever stared at a Spanish sentence and thought, wait, why is this tiny word like lo or lay just floating around before the verb? Or where on earth did se come from? Well, you're in exactly the right place. By the end of this explainer, we're going to clear all of that up for good.
Here is a quick roadmap of what we're covering today. First, we'll meet the object pronouns. 2. Direct object pronouns. 3. Indirect object pronouns. 4. Combining those pronouns. And 5. The C transformation rule.
Section 1. Meet the object pronouns.
Okay, before we get bogged down in heavy grammar rules, I want you to think of object pronouns as your ultimate conversational shortcuts. They basically exist so we don't have to endlessly repeat long nouns, right? Instead of saying, I have the book, and I am reading the book, and I will return the book, you just say, I have the book, I'm reading it, and I'll return it. It's a lifesaver. Now, pulling straight from page 68 of our student manual, we've got our two main categories mapped out here. Direct objects, or complemento directo at the top, and indirect objects, complemento indirecto, at the bottom. You'll probably notice right away that there's a lot of overlap. Me, te, and se appear in both places. But I want you to keep your eyes on that crucial difference in the third person, the la, lo, las, los at the top versus the le, les at the bottom. Keep this visual map in the back of your mind as we figure out what these actually do.
Moving right along to Section 2, Direct Object Pronouns. So, grammatically speaking, the direct object is the person or thing literally taking the direct hit of the verb's action. If you ask what or who is being verbed, boom, that's your direct object. Let's look at a concrete example. Ella baña al perro cada día. She bathes the dog every day. What's receiving the action of bathing? The dog, right? Al perro. Now, if we want to use our handy conversational shortcut, we swap al perro for the singular masculine direct object pronoun, which is lo. But here is the kicker for us English speakers. In Spanish, that little pronoun usually jumps right in front of the conjugated verb, so the sentence actually becomes Ella lo baña cada día. Literally, she, him, bathes every day. I know, it feels totally backward at first, but in Spanish, it's an incredibly smooth, natural construction.
Section 3. Indirect object pronouns. Now, if the direct object takes the direct action, the indirect object answers to whom or for whom that action is being done. They are basically the beneficiaries, or sometimes the victims, of whatever is going on in the sentence. Let's pull another example straight from the manual's exercises. Pedro da regalos a mí. Pedro gives gifts to me. Who is on the receiving end of those gifts? Me. I'm the indirect object. To use our shortcut, we grab the indirect object pronoun me, and just like we saw with the direct object, it casually slides right in perfectly before the conjugated verb. Pedro me da regalos en mi cumpleaños. Pedro, to me, gives gifts on my birthday. Easy enough, right?
Section 4. Combining direct and indirect. Okay, take a deep breath because this is where the magic really happens. What do we do when we want to replace both objects in the exact same sentence? Well, Spanish has an absolute, unbreakable, golden rule here. The indirect object pronoun always comes before the direct object pronoun. Always. Think of the acronym ID, indirect, then direct. If you want to say he gave it to me, the Spanish order is he, to me, it gave. I really want to emphasize this because I know the word order feels flipped from English, but it is a super rigid, perfectly logical structure in Spanish. Once you trust that ID rule, honestly, half the battle is already won.
Section 5. The C transformation rule. Which brings us to the famous mystery of se. Because, wait a minute, if the rule is indirect then direct, why on earth do Spanish speakers say celo instead of lelo? Let's build this up block by block, using an awesome example from the text. Step 1. The full sentence. Compré una manzana para Tania. I bought an apple for Tanya. Step 2. Let's use the indirect shortcut for Tanya, which is le. Le compré una manzana. I bought her an apple. So far, so good. Now, step 3, let's replace manzana, the apple, with the direct object pronoun la. Following our golden ID rule, we'd expect it to be le la compré. But it's not. It becomes se la compré. The le has mysteriously morphed into a set.
So what's the deal here? Why does this happen? Well, it's actually for a very practical, almost polite reason.
Just try saying "le la compré" out loud. Le la, le la, le la. It's clunky, it's repetitive, it honestly sounds like a tongue twister. Spanish is a language that really values phonetic flow and beauty. Saying two pronouns that start with L back to back, like lelo, lela, les los, it just sounds harsh to the ear. So Spanish grammar simply swaps out that first pronoun for the incredibly smooth-sounding se. Le la compré instantly upgrades to the elegant se la compré. It is a real game changer.
Let's look at one more example from the manual to really hammer this home. The base sentence is Le dije la clave a Juan. I told the password to Juan. The direct object, la clave, becomes la. The indirect object, Juan, is le. When we combine them, we definitely don't say le la dije. Nope, that le morphs into se right before the la. Se la dije a él. I told it to him. Just let your ear catch that smooth pronoun order for a second. Se la. It just rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
And this brilliantly illustrates our final point about placement flexibility, especially when we're dealing with ongoing actions. Take a look at this slightly longer sentence from the manual. Gloria está enviando un cheque al señor Gómez. Gloria is sending a check to Mr. Gómez. We've got our indirect object, Mr. Gómez, which is le, and our direct object, the check, which is lo.
Now, because we're using an ongoing action, the gerund enviando, we're sending, Spanish grammar actually gives us an amazing choice. Option 1 follows everything we've talked about so far. Put the combined shortcuts right before the conjugated verb. Gloria se lo está enviando. Remember, le lo became se lo. But check out option 2. You can actually attach that entire se lo shortcut right to the very end of the gerund. It creates this punchy single-word finish. Gloria está enviándoselo. Both are totally valid, they mean the exact same thing, and they really showcase just how beautifully flexible Spanish can be.
So the big takeaway here is that these pronouns aren't just here to torture you. They're actually powerful tools designed to make your Spanish faster, smoother, and way more native sounding. We've mapped out the pronouns, we locked in the golden ID rule, and we finally solved the phonetical mystery of se. So I'll leave you with a challenge. What long, clunky sentences will you simplify with se lo, se la, or se los today? Take this rule out of the textbook, find ways to use your new conversational shortcuts, and start speaking with some serious confidence. Thanks so much for hanging out with me in this explainer. Keep practicing, and I'll catch you next time.